Happy Sunday, everybody. Let's go ahead and start talking GEs. Okay, let's just jump right into these things. Just like the aces that we looked at last week, these are both Paragon 3, and there's definitely a version 1 and a version 2. The CSX in the back there is a version 2, or excuse me, a version 1, and the BNSF is the version 2. Just like the aces, the version 1 has wipers and soldered connections on the pickups for the version 2. However, the difference being with these, I've had zero issues with either of them when it comes to pickup issues. They both have been 100% reliable. There was a decoder issue with the CSX that I will get into in a minute, but it's pretty nitpicky, and I don't know if I would hold Broadway accountable for it at all. Like I said, these are both Paragon 3s. They got a lot of functionality in the Paragon 3 stuff that I didn't necessarily go through on the aces, but I think I'm going to go into a little more in depth with these. So I brought the CSX into the picture because I did want to talk decoders and some of the functionality that they had really quick. Like, this is the one that I had a problem with. I ended up buying it as a refurb from the Broadway Limited refurb store. I got it and I genuinely really enjoyed it. I then started to play with that, the CV19 Easy Consisting mode, and I determined that regardless of what I did, the cab light that's on right now, because it's in the park position, would stay on regardless of the throttle input. Now I could do a standard, just consist the locomotive addresses together and everything functioned properly. So I contacted and made a couple videos for Broadway so they could see what the issue was, and they were really cool about it. They got right back to me, sent me the shipping label and whatnot, got it sent back, and they determined it was a malfunction in the firmware of the decoder. They got me hooked up and back in my possession. So now everything functions as it should, and I again am going to sing the praises of Broadway because they do take care of your customers when you buy stuff from them. This is a sound decoder. All Broadway stuff is, sound decoders. So we're going to go ahead and just get this thing fired up. I've never actually heard an AC6000. Never seen one come through here to the best of my knowledge. So I'm just going by some internet videos that I looked at, and the sound to my ears sounds relatively similar. The one thing I do really like about these AC6000s is the default horn is much nicer than the aces that we reviewed last week. The quill is a little nicer, and if you hold the horn, you can't necessarily hear it loop like you could the aces. So really like that. Let's go ahead and spool up the throttle as long as we got it sitting here. I've been playing more with the bells lately. Nice and crisp. Something about the Broadways that I really like compared to some of the other manufacturers, like the Bachmann that I got on my layout that I'm testing right now, is even when the machine is silenced, the horn can still be activated. And when you got kids that play around, your layout and like to watch, it's really cool if you can just buzz by and give them a quick honk of the horn, put the smile on their face, and you don't have to have the whole thing making a bunch of noise. I don't really use this very much, but I can see how it would be cool. You can activate sounds. If you go through your function list, there's playable true noises. Pretty cool feature. Not really my jam, but it is something on there, and it does sound pretty nice. The other thing I like about these over the aces when it comes to sound is the random effects I think they do better on these than they did the Aces. It seems like the fan likes to come on a whole bunch for the radiators on the Aces, and I've tuned that out of my Paragon 3s. I'm still working on tuning it out of my Paragon 4s. This is one of those things that's pretty hard to get on camera when I've got the film lights on, but the headlights are nice and bright on this. At least on this model, the glowing number boards are a nice little feature. And the ditch lights are nice and even on both sides. Really nice. Put that little short clip in there just so you can see the light turn off and on when it's moving. That's kind of a neat feature. Not really really excited about it, but it's cool that it's on there. Go ahead and pulled the BNSF front and center. Let's just take a look at this thing. Really nice detail. I really like what they've done with this. Just like most Broadways, the handrails are nice and thin. I wish they'd paint them. They do a good job on the steps. I don't know why they don't take that extra minute to just paint the handrails. It'd be really nice. The grab handles on the hood, if that's what you want to call it, are nice and thin and scale. Like I said, the lights look really nice on these in the cabs when they're running. Shades look nice, although not adjustable like the Aces. The trucks on these are gorgeous. They do a really nice job detailing them, excuse me. A little bit of an oddity, this one didn't have the red painted fuel cap. The CSX does. I wonder if it was just something that was missed at the factory. The BNSF also has kind of it must be the multiple layers of paint or the type of paint they have to use to get the orange. It seems to fill in more body lines than the other colors do, so this one looks a little less detailed than the CSX, but still pretty nice, especially for the money when we get talking about that. The air tanks look really good on this model. I like them. The grills and radiator in the back are kind of what make the AC6000, also the dual exhaust, really be a standout. You can tell one. I think they did a really good job. Everything looks to scale and proper. All in all, really nice looking model. I love the BNSF. It's one of my favorites. Just pull it out of the way and get a quick look at the CSX. I'm going to adjust the light if I can here. The CSX has the alternate trucks on there. More common on the CSX stuff. I don't know if they special ordered them or what, but they looked really cool. I just kind of had to have one in my fleet. I also love the gray and blue color scheme. I can't remember what they call this, if this is the dark past or whatnot, but I do really like this paint scheme. Brings back memories of my childhood. And yeah, you can really tell, and maybe it's just the gray. Lots of door detail, hinges. Looks really nice on this one. So what really makes these things just some of the best models in my fleet? They have pulling power for days. Broadway did an excellent job with the gear train system in this. The version 1, I will say, has a little more decoder whine, if that's what you want to call it. The version 2 is absolutely silent. It pulls super hard. I've never seen it stall out. They track through turnouts and crossovers really well. You know, don't have derailments all the time. There are some occasions with everything. You go over a little bit of a bump and they'll derail, but for the most part, these are set it and forget it models and are super reliable. But that pulling power thing with these is something else. I had to adjust the throttle inputs on these as well for the load dependent throttle, and I don't know if the CV values really match up, but I did have to go a little bit more per setting. I ended up lowering it about 30 points per CV to get the throttle to really match up with what I would consider the load. Again, I have a short layout and I can't put enough cars behind this thing to really make it struggle to go up a hill. So, especially in consist, it generally won't adjust the throttle too much. I have noticed a little bit of heat buildup in both of them. I think they have really strong gear trains and really strong motors, and when that happens, they do tend to get a little bit hot. Nothing to be concerned about, but I have noticed you grab them and you notice they're warmer than other engines that have been pulling with them. So why these for the standard versus the Aces? Well, I went through how both generations run really well, but the main factor is they pull really well and they're just as reliable as the good version 2 Aces, except these have a significant price point difference, especially right now. It seems to me that retailers are fire sailing these things just like bonkers. You can go on eBay and find them for $150 to $160 new, used definitely for that price point, and pretty regularly you can find a AC6000 if you're not too worried about road number or road name. They've got them on there for like $150 shipped a lot of times, and that's a pretty smoking price point for a DCC locomotive that pulls like a workhorse and has sound. Comparatively, most new Katos, not that you can really get an AC6000 that I know of, but we'll just say a Gevo for that matter, right about the $90 range for a new one. Put a good DCC controller in there, like premium. I think these really are premium decoders. To match the speed control and the pulling power, you know, a good TCS in there with back EMF, you know, you're pushing like 140, 150 bucks, and that's no sound installed. This does all of that and more, and you get sound. The other thing you get is that awesome easy consisting thing for setting up the lights. I went over that in my last review. It works great in this too. 6443 is always in consist with those 2 Aces, and it runs great. The lights work like they should. It's just an awesome feature. All in all, these have everything that a good locomotive should have and a smoking good price point. I'm surprised that I don't have more of them. I love these. They're great locomotives. I just happen to be more of an EMD guy, so GEs are kind of a secondary thing to me, but if I was a GE guy, I would have a bunch of these on my layout. They're awesome. They're set it and forget it models. They got great sound and really good price point. So go out, get a couple of them. You won't be sorry you did. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I'll see you this Wednesday. I think I got a little bit of a project that you guys might be interested in. Have a good weekend. Bye now.